All right, we are live on YouTube, and tonight we're going to be discussing after 4 years of division, unity is about to return. So stick around and find out exactly what I'm talking about. All of that and much, much more is coming right. From Northern California, welcome to a very special edition of Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. And if this is your first time here, and most importantly, you are open to suggestions and change, please consider subscribing and then banging that bell. And after you bang that bell, when that pop-up box pops up, make sure you select all notifications, because that way you won't miss a single thing. You will not miss anything when it comes to getting a better grip on your life. That's right. You will not miss a single beat when it comes to getting a better grip on your life. That's what this channel is all about. Now, before we get to tonight's very special, topic, very special episode here, because it is Election Day Eve here in the U.S. where I live, I want to pay a very special props and thank you to the sponsor of this channel, Mr. Troy Brewer, who is the CEO, founder, and owner of the Discover Community Network, for all of your product and service needs from the most trusted professionals in the industry. Please consider visiting www.discovercommunitynetwork.com. That is www.discovercommunitynetwork.com. You can also visit a subsidiary of the Discover Community Network that is called the DCN Internet Radio Network. And on that website, there are a bunch of internet radio stations. There are music stations. And one of those music stations is more than likely to shoot your, to appease your genre needs, which is what I'm trying to say. Ooh, I'm too excited about this show. I'm already butchering the promo here for you, Troy. My apologies for that. But also, there are a bunch of talk radio stations on there. In case you like talk radio like me, I love to listen to talk radio, especially, during an election year. And I also love to do talk shows myself, like I do out here. So if you like talk, or if you like, music, and you want a place where you can find, pretty much any type of genre that you're seeking, please consider visiting www.dcninternetradionetwork.com. That's www.dcninternetradionetwork.com. Both those links are below in the description, about a third of the way down. And if you check out those websites, you can also find out how to reach out to Troy. If you decide to reach out to Troy, please feel free to make him aware that Coach Eli sent you with lots and lots and lots and lots of love, because that's what we're all about here on the A Grip on Life channel. We're about positivity and lots of love. All right. So, one more thing to mention here before we get started. Once again, folks, if you haven't caught a live stream on my channel lately, or if you're brand new to this channel, well, first of all, let me make sure that the notification went out. Oh my gosh. Let me make sure that it went out, and it certainly has gone out. And everything on the back end is looking great. So now let me just mention that if you're new to this channel or you haven't been here in a while, I changed things up with my live streams. My streams are still going to be publicly available, but if you want to chat in my live streams or on my live streams, you're going to have to purchase one of my 5 channel membership packages as low as $4.99 per month. If you're not able to chat, that's the reason why. If you're a moderator, you're always going to be free. Nuts World's a moderator here, so she can chat for free. And, she's a great part of the Coach Eli clan. So, I love being able to take care of my moderators, and I will never charge my moderators for anything because they're modding the channel. Additionally, for those of you that are not channel members or don't want to become channel members, but you still want to get a message through every now and then, you can still hit that super chat at the bottom of the chat. Click that $sign. And for as little as $1 on your laptop or desktop or 99 cents on your iPhone, you can send a message and that will go through. And I would be happy to address you that way. One of the main reasons why I switched things up to having members-only chat is because I want people to participate here on this channel that are serious about getting a better grip on their life. I also want to, get a better control of, hate and trolling type of messages. That's another reason why I did it. For those of you that see value here, $4.99 is a very minimal investment to be able to, have your say in the chat. So that is that. All right. So Muttnuts World is here. And again, because we are now members only chat, I don't expect there to be too many people here tonight. But I still have a very important message to put out here regarding the topic. But let me say hey to Mutt first. Mutt, how you doing? Hey, Eli and everyone. Sorry, stepped away to make a snack, but back. Welcome back, Mutt. Hey, Mutt, have you been watching the news lately? Have you been watching CNN or Fox News, or have you heard what's going on regarding the election tomorrow? Because I've got to tell you, this is one of the most interesting election years that our country has ever seen. And tonight I'm going to be sharing my thoughts and some of my stories regarding how the past 4 years have been from my life since, President Trump was elected into office 4 years ago. What I do want to mention here, folks, right off the bat, is that I am not here to bash on anyone. That includes President Trump. That includes, Joe Biden. I'm not here to bash on conservatives or liberals or independents. I'm not here to pass judgment on anyone, regardless of what your political views are or your political, party, preference is. I'm just here to state my facts and my opinions about what I've been through over the past 4 years and how it has tremendously affected my life in ways unlike I've ever seen before. So let me just get to the topic here first and read that one more time. The topic of tonight's stream is after 4 years of division, unity is about to return. One more time. After 4 years of division, unity is about to return. Why did I create that topic? Why did I, name this stream that topic? Well, if you've been paying attention, folks, obviously it's been an election year. And because we are in a pandemic, there was a bigger push for voting by mail this year. And we've received a record number of votes already by mail. As of earlier tonight, I was watching CNN. Some of you call CNN fake news. I actually like CNN, and I like a lot of the things that they've been saying lately. I know they don't always get everything right, but lately I've been pretty much, on board with what they're saying. And as of this point right now, about 100 million people here in the U.S. have already voted the night before the election. It's a record number of votes at this point. And I was watching. I've been watching CNN in the background throughout most of the day. And the last time that we saw a voting level of response in this country was back in 1900. So, we're looking at, over 100 years ago. And over 100 years ago, folks, fewer people have the right to vote. I believe it was only men that had the right to vote, and I believe it was only Caucasian men that had the right to vote. Nowadays, everyone has the right to vote, and I'm very grateful and thankful for that. Back then, women couldn't vote. Back then, other ethnicities couldn't vote, etc., right? So we've definitely come a long way. But, this is the biggest turnout for any election that we've had in the past 120 years of our country's history. And why do I think that's happening? Obviously, our current president, Donald J. Trump, has made so much noise, not only lately, but throughout his entire, term of being the president of the United States. And so many, I hate to say this, so many crazy things that happened over the past 4 years, in my opinion. One being that we've created more division in our country than bring people together and create unity, and that people are tired of that. People are tired of the division that has happened in our country here over the past 4 years. So they're coming out to vote in record numbers, in my opinion, because they want to make sure that President Donald Trump does not get reelected. Rhonda Grace Exploring. I voted early by mail. Hey, welcome, Rhonda. Rhonda, you will always be a moderator here. And I think you were here. Were you here on one of my other streams where I mentioned that my chats are going to members only, but moderators are free? So you will always be free, Rhonda. And it's nice to see you here. And Rhonda, regardless of who you voted for, I have a lot of love for you and everyone else. I'm just here to state my opinions. But I will come out and say I did vote earlier today by mail. And I did vote for Joe Biden. And obviously, by the title of my stream, you folks could probably figure out that I had already voted for Joe Biden. And most people out here know that I'm liberal. I'm not a liberal extremist, but I'm a slight left liberal. I actually like views from both sides. I like some conservative views and I like some liberal views, but I also don't like some liberal views and don't like some conservative views. I'm more like down the middle. I'm about what makes sense for the best overall aspect and interest of everyone. Yeah, and Rhonda Grace says, yes, I heard that. Yeah, we've had a record turnout of voters by mail already, a day before the election. And interestingly enough, Rhonda, what I also heard, because I've been, like I said earlier, I've been watching CNN in the background throughout the entire day. I heard that the estimated number of voters is going to be around 160 million, 150 to 160 million. And in order for Donald Trump to have a chance to win, he needs to have more people vote than that. Because for those of you that have been following, what's been going on with the election, especially with the mail-in ballots, Joe Biden has a pretty decent lead. And unless, another 70 or 80 million people show up tomorrow, more than likely, Joe Biden will be the next president of the United States. So, and look, I'm not trying to be selfish here. I'm trying to be unbiased on the stream here because I care about the best overall interest of everyone. But that's how I hope it turns out. And look, I didn't vote for Joe Biden because he's a liberal, and I didn't vote for Donald Trump because he's a conservative. I voted for Joe Biden for one reason. The one main reason that I voted for Joe Biden is because he is all about unity. And in the last presidential debate, Joe Biden mentioned that this is not about, blue versus red. This is about unity amongst all Americans. And I got to tell you, Rhonda and Mutt, when I heard Joe Biden say that, that was my deciding factor right there, because that's all I ever believed in since I was a little kid. Since I was a little kid, I've always been about everyone being fair and equal, regardless of your age, race, sex, national origin, whether you're male or female, sexual orientation, whether you're gay or straight or lesbian or bi or whatever. It doesn't matter. This is all about unity. It should not be about blue versus red. It should not be about the elephant versus the donkey, right? Rhonda Grace Exploring says, LOL, yes, and everyone has the right to their own opinions and choose who to vote for. No, absolutely. I'm glad you feel that way, Rhonda, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But yeah, like I said, the key deciding factor in me voting for Joe Biden was I truly believe wholeheartedly that he's all about unity, and him and Kamala are gonna make that happen. As far as what I've seen, with Donald Trump, and this is with no disrespect, I'm trying to say this as respectfully as possible. I'm not trying to attack the president or anybody else or anyone that believes in the president. I've never seen any president in the history of our country be as selfish as Donald Trump. And I'm going to share a few things that some of you may have heard of today that more so make me lead to believe this. And then I'm going to share a few stories about what I've experienced over the past 4 years since the president's been in office that I never, thought I would ever experience and hope I never experience again. I mean, I experienced such tremendous hate and attacks out here on YouTube, and not only this presidency not only affected, my business life out here on YouTube, it affected my personal life, with dating. And I'll share, more about that in just a little bit. Yeah, it gets that deep and it gets that interesting. So, with that being said, earlier today, I'm just going to read this article here. I'm not going to show it on the screen. I've been hearing a lot about this, and I want to share my thoughts about it. Trump promises court fight over Pennsylvania absentee votes. And this article was written yesterday, but it's still very current. Washington Associated Press. President Donald Trump and his re-election campaign are signaling they will pursue an aggressive legal strategy to try and prevent Pennsylvania from counting mailed ballots that are received in the 3 days after the election. Why are you worried about it, Donald? I mean, are you worried about it because you know that Joe Biden is way ahead of you right now and you need to pull every loophole you can at the last minute to have any chance of winning this election? It's my fair use commentary right there. The matter could find its way to the Supreme Court, especially if those ballots could tip the outcome in the battleground state. Oh, jeez. I have nothing to respond to that. I think you folks... And let me just move forward. The 3-day extension was ordered by Pennsylvania's top court. The Supreme Court refused to block it, but several conservative justices, see how biased this is? Several conservative justices have indicated they could revisit the issue after the election. So once Trump loses the election, we're going to revisit it and try to put, Joe Biden getting into office on hold, right? Right. There's something being concocted behind the scenes, right? I love saying behind the scenes a lot, but I'm sure there's a lot going on behind the scenes with Mr. Trump and his camp. I get it. Okay. Pennsylvania Secretary of State Kathy Buckvar, a Democrat, already has told local elections officials, I can't even talk, to keep the late arriving ballots separate, but also to count them. Why? Why does it matter? People are going to vote the way they want to vote. It doesn't matter if they vote now or if they vote 3 days after the election. What's going to change their vote? Trump thinks that, people are going to cheat and change their votes. Come on, man. She acknowledged that a post-election court fight could change that. Right. That's exactly what's going to happen. If Trump loses the election, he's going to sue anyone he can, and he's going to delay the outcome of this election as long as he can. I already know it's going to happen. Everyone knows it's going to happen, right? And he has plenty of money to do that, right? Right. Trump's threat of legal action comes as he has been delivering a chaotic closing message during the waning days of the campaign as he lags behind Democratic rival Joe Biden nationally and by narrow margins in key battleground states, which are probably going to, decide the election. The president has made a flurry of last-minute campaign stops trying to hold on to states he won in 2016. Well, those states are flipping because they don't like what happened the last 4 years, Mr. Trump or President Trump, including Pennsylvania, Florida, and North Carolina. Over the weekend, he continued to rail against absentee ballots, frustrated by a Supreme Court ruling that didn't deliver a clear GOP win. Of course, if it's not in his favor, he's gonna fight it, even if he's wrong. Anything to delay the election outcome, which right now, as it stands, with 100 million votes in already, by mail, 1 day before the election, Joe Biden has a commanding lead. Continuing a months-long push to sow unfounded doubt about potential voter fraud. There's no voter fraud happening. This is a ploy because President Trump knows he's going to lose this election. He's going to try to pull whatever he can to maybe scare away certain people from the polls that were going to vote for Joe Biden or scare them into voting for him, right? This is a scare tactic. And I don't mean to be rude. I've dealt with many conservative people out here on YouTube, and I'm not being disrespectful by saying this. I'm just sharing my opinions. And a lot of conservative people that I've dealt with, they try to kick me down or scare me away with scare tactics. I'm not saying that liberals are not capable of using scare tactics. We are. But I more so see scare tactics coming from Republicans, from conservatives, when they know they're not going to get their way or they're about to lose something that they thought they were going to win or feel they deserve to win. That's just my opinion. You have yours, I have mine, right? Trump said the high court's pre-election refusal to rule out the extension was a terrible decision. Of course, because it didn't favor you, Donald. Come on, dog. Let me read that again. Trump said the high court's pre-election refusal to rule out the extension was a terrible decision. It's like a baby crying when it doesn't get its way, right? He also said that once the polls close Tuesday, we're going in with our lawyers. Of course, Donald, you got plenty of money, man. You're going to try to delay Joe from getting into office as long as you can. Listen, I'm not trying to be judgmental or anything here. This is a typical conservative way of doing business. It's a typical conservative move. Based on the conservatives I dealt with, that's how conservatives handle things. Not just President Trump, but other conservatives I've dealt with. Justin Clark, the deputy Trump campaign manager and senior counsel, said, Bukvar is blatantly attempting to steal this election for Joe Biden. And the Democrats, no, you're just losing, Donald, and you're a sore loser. That's all it is. You're a sore loser. Sore loser. But make no mistake, President Trump and his team will continue to fight for the free, fair election and the trustworthy results all Americans deserve. What Americans deserve, President Trump, is unity, not division, not hate. Not inciting violence, sir. We'll get to that in a second. We deserve peace and unity. And those two things are not in your vocabulary, sir. That's all I've got to say. They're not. The legal issue is whether the extension ordered by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, relying on voter protections in the Pennsylvania Constitution, violated the U.S. Constitution. It did not. It did not. The argument advanced by Republicans is that the Constitution gives states legislators, not state courts, the power to decide how electoral votes are awarded, including whether absentee ballots received after Election Day can be counted. So Pennsylvania is handling this according to the law. And because you, President Trump, sir, with all due respect, that is respectfully, don't like it because you're losing this. You're losing this battle one day before. And unless you try to pull something to turn it around majorly tomorrow, on Election Day, you're going to lose to Joe Biden. This is a ploy, folks. And it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Roughly 20 states allow for late arriving ballots, but Pennsylvania's Republican-controlled legislature did not authorize an extension. Of course, the Republicans wouldn't authorize that because they're Trump supporters, right? This is all biased, right? Even with the huge increase in mail ballots because of the coronavirus pandemic, similar ballot deadline extensions have resulted in court fights in Minnesota and North Carolina because the other side has been a poor loser every time, right? Come on now. Let me see if we have any comments in the chat here. Give me a second here. Okay, Rhonda Grace says, I've always been about unity as well as free thinking. I go according to the Constitution. I don't need any president to tell me how to get along with people. It's up to each person's behavior. No, I understand that, Rhonda, but the president has, a big voice for most people. Most people are not like you and myself that can make our own decisions and not need the president to convince us on those decisions, right? But most people just follow the leader, right? And that's my concern right there. My concern is not people like you and me. It's the other people that are easily manipulated and brainwashed. That's the thing. But nuts world, wow. And why single out one specific state? Because you know why, Mutt, do I have to tell you? He's trying to do whatever he can on the last day of the election, before the election, the final day, to scare people away that we're going to vote for Biden or scare them into voting for him. All right. Let's continue here. Let me get back to the article here. The Supreme Court generally does not second-guess state courts when they rely on their own constitutions, but Democrats were alarmed by Justice Brett Kavanaugh's reference to the court's 2000 Bush versus Gore decision that effectively decided the presidential election in favor of George W. Bush. Although it was not the majority opinion in the case, the opinion joined by 3 conservative justices in 2000 would have ruled for Bush because the Florida Supreme Court's recount order usurped the legislator's authority. Supreme Court has never cited Bush versus Gore as the basis for a decision of the court. Kavanaugh is one of 3 justices who worked for Bush in the Florida case 20 years ago. Chief Justice John Roberts and new Justice Amy Coney Barrett are the others. Despite Trump's recent criticism of the court, he has said that one reason he pushed for Barrett's quick confirmation as a justice was to have her on the court for any post-election disputes. Of course, so that way he can be favored in those decisions, right? Of course. Barrett, Kavanaugh, and Justice Neil Gorsuch are the 3 Trump appointees on a court that now has a 6-3 conservative advantage. Okay. I wonder why, he set it up that way, right? Come on now. All right. So that's the article there. And because of this, if you folks haven't seen this yet, Donald Trump put out a tweet earlier. Now, I'm going to show this tweet on the screen. Let me move to the other screen here. Give me just a second. So Trump put out a tweet earlier today, and that tweet was actually disputed and flagged by Team Twitter. Good job, Team Twitter, because you got to fact check anyone that's misleading the public, including the president, right? This is what Trump wrote earlier. The Supreme Court decision on voting in Pennsylvania is a very dangerous one. It will allow rampant and unchecked cheating. How? President Trump, how will it allow that? And it will undermine our entire systems of laws. How, President Trump? Can you explain how? How are people going to cheat? This is a pathetic attempt to stir up some noise and scare people the day before the election. This is a scare tactic. It's ridiculous. Please, folks, don't fall for this. Go out there and vote. Whether you're voting for Trump or for Biden, go out there and vote. You have the right to vote. Do not let anyone, including the current president, scare you away from voting. Please. It will also induce violence in the streets. Something must be done. Well, I think Twitter did the right thing, President Trump. They silenced your tweet. Now, they kept it public, but they're not allowing responses to it unless people want to retweet it and share their own responses. So obviously, this is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's just a ploy, at the very last minute to stir up some noise and scare people away from voting, especially people that were going to vote for Joe Biden. It's absurd. It's absurd. Now, give me 1 second here. In addition, Trump has come out and said that he's going to have 30,000 poll watchers all over the nation to ensure that voting is happening properly. Now, these poll watchers, folks, are different than the poll workers. There are poll workers that are hired, I believe, typically by the county. When my mother used to work for the county as a divorce clerk in the family law department, the civil department, she used to also work the elections. And basically, they will either hire people, they'll offer extra work to the people that work for the county, or they'll just hire people, citizens that want to, be a poll worker. Okay. These poll watchers have nothing to do with the poll workers. They're just there to ensure that no cheating is happening. And they're typically paid for on behalf of the president that's, hiring them to look out to make sure nothing's, going on. Now, there's going to be no cheating going on. No one is planning on cheating. That typically doesn't happen, right? So why is President Trump doing this? Why is he doing this? Because he's trying to scare people away that we're going to vote for Joe Biden. The fewer people that vote for Joe Biden, obviously it bridges the gap, and it's one less thing that Trump needs to win, one less aspect Trump needs to win to get reelected, right? So look at all these things that the current president is trying to do to sway the election back in his favor and try to win. I'll say this: Joe Biden has a commanding lead right now with 100 million votes already in. He has a pretty commanding lead. It's going to take practically a miracle for Donald Trump to come back and win this thing tomorrow. If Donald Trump does come back and win this thing tomorrow, then I will know in my head and my heart that having all the money in the world and pulling all these scare tactics and all the shady stuff that I feel is happening on his end, that it works. That's the only way I feel that Donald Trump has a chance of winning this tomorrow. But we'll just have to wait and see. All right. So we are at 35 minutes, folks. I've got another 30 to 40 minutes of stuff I want to talk about, my personal experiences. But before I get to that, I want to, I'm going to take a little short break and use the restroom and just rest my voice for a second here. Let me go back to full screen. So let me just do this. Let me cue up some royalty-free YouTube music here. Give me just 1 second. Let me see here. Let me see. Okay. All right. So I'm going to step away for a very quick 5 to 7 or 8 minute break. When we return, I'm going to be sharing with you folks how the last 4 years have affected my life in ways unlike anything I've ever seen before and hope to never, ever see again. I'm going to share with you folks what I've been through, not only professionally, but personally as well. The last 4 years have completely affected my life in every single way possible. So stick around. That's coming right up after the break. We'll be right back. Yeah, all right. Yeah, slow it down a little bit and feel good. Slow it down and feel real good. Because division is about to end and unity is about to come back. Unity is about to come back. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Unity's about to come back. Division is over. Yeah. All right. Welcome back to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, live here on YouTube. This is a very special live election day eve episode, the day before the presidential election of 2020. Folks, if you missed the first part of this show, definitely go back and check out the replay. I shared a bunch of thoughts and feelings and opinions and truths early on, so check that out if you missed it. But here, during the second part of this show, I'm going to be sharing my own personal experiences and how, the last 4 years have tremendously impacted my life. And I'm gonna be honest. I'm not trying to be bitter. I'm not trying to be angry. I'm not trying to point the finger or anything. Just being honest. The past 4 years of my life have been the absolute worst. And I'm not saying it was all bad. I mean, I made the best of it, and I had some good times. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of the things that happened within our government, stemming from, the White House, tremendously affected me in many ways. And it just really saddens me because it didn't have to go that way. I've always been about peace, unity, and happiness and joy and positivity. But the last 4 years have been nothing but one negative thing after the other. And it's interesting to me that what happened over the past 4 years, in my opinion, empowered a bunch of people that never felt they had power before. And I'm going to share that here in just a second. But let me check out the chat real quick and see if there's anything else going on in there. Again, folks, the topic is, after 4 years of division, unity is about to return. That's the topic tonight. And again, in case you're unaware, my chats for my live streams, now my public live streams, are members only, which is why you're not seeing a lot of people here. Moderators are still free to chat. But for everyone else, if you do want to chat, you have one of two options. You can become a member of this channel for a minimum of $4.99 per month and chat freely. Or if you do not want to become a member and you're not a moderator, you can hit that super chat at the bottom. And for a minimum of $1 or 99 cents from your iPhone, you can send one message at a time for each super chat that you purchase. And again, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, the reason why I'm doing that is because I really want people to be here on my channel that want to be here for the right reason or reasons. I'm trying to get away from all the trolling, all the hate. We've had enough hate in this country and in this world for the last 4 years. And the last thing I want to do is allow any more hate on my channel. So if you're a positive person that wants to grow and learn and get a better grip on your life, please, consider becoming a channel member. Or you can just wait for the replays and you can actually comment for free below any of my live stream replays or any of my regular videos that I put out. Mutt Nuts World says, welcome back. Hey, Mutt, thank you for still being here. I wonder if Rhonda is still around. Rhonda, you're always somebody that has great opinions and great things to say. So if you're still around, let us know. If not, no worries. Thank you for stopping on by. All right. So how have the last 4 years tremendously affected my life in ways unlike ever before? I got to go back to almost 4 years ago, 3.5, 4 years ago, when I was running a former YouTube channel that I no longer run. The former channel I used to run is pretty much the same type of channel I run right now that I've been running for the last 2 years. My channel was called Coach Eli, Uncompromising Business and Personal Relationship Coaching. Rhonda Grace, I'm still here making some of the, no worries. Thank you, Rhonda. I appreciate that. And if you can't stick around, Rhonda, I totally understand. No big deal. I just appreciate it whenever you pop up. But so for the past, 4 years, like I said, I've experienced things starting out here on YouTube unlike anything I've experienced before. I came out here on this platform to live my dream. I've always helped people accomplish whatever they want to accomplish, or, with any situation that they had problems with. I've always helped people my entire life. And I said, you know what? This is what my purpose is. This is what my passion is. This is what my real, true desire is to do for the rest of my life. Now, I worked many other jobs before that, and I was also an insurance broker during that time, which I no longer am as of earlier this year. But again, my dream, my goal was to do this full time. Now, when I came out here initially for the first 6 months, about 4 years ago or so, 3.5, 4 years ago, I was doing some pre-recorded videos, and then 6 months into it, I started doing some live streams, and then I ended up bringing my girlfriend at the time, who's now my ex-girlfriend, to run some streams with me, and I got myself involved with a group I was recommended that is known as MGTOW, Men Going Their Own Way. A group of men that have decided that the downside risk of dating or marrying women is far too great in this modern world. And because of divorce laws, modern divorce laws, including no-fault divorce and child custody laws, a lot of these guys felt that the stove is too hot, so they just wanted to withdraw from women altogether, which I thought was quite ridiculous, and I still think it's quite ridiculous to this day. Because I stated my opinion, a lot of these people started attacking me. And as I started to get to know more and more of these people, the majority, if not all of them, were right-winged extremist conservatives. And the majority of them were right-winged, extremist, conservative Caucasian men that were angry and bitter that they went through a divorce. They ended up losing, half their, half their assets to their wife. And then they would come out and blame their wife for everything and didn't take ownership of anything that they did wrong. And as I continued to run that channel, I kept on getting more and more attacked and harassed by conservative men. Now, some conservative women did the same thing too, but it was primarily conservative men. I started to see a trend. Now, every so often, I would come across a liberal man or woman, and they would enjoy my content. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, why does it matter whether someone is liberal or conservative? People are people. Marriage is marriage. Dating is dating. What does it matter that I'm a slight left liberal and I have my thoughts and opinions about something? What does it matter that you're a conservative and you have your opinions? You have your opinions and I have mine, right? And just because our opinions differ or slightly differ, why can't we just agree to disagree and move on from each other and leave it at that? But see, no, that's not what these guys did. What these guys ended up doing was constantly attack me. They attacked me saying that, oh, you're not a dating coach and you're a liberal. I'm not going to say it. I don't want to get demonetized. You're a liberal sack of doo-doo. I'll put it that way, right? That's what they would call me, right? And they kept coming at me rather than just saying, hey, dude, we have different views. We have a difference of opinion. Eli, I really think you should take the MGTOW message more seriously and just withdraw and not date or marry women. But if you want to do that, hey, that's on you, bro. No problem, man. Good to meet you, man. But, I'm going to go focus on people that are more so in agreement with my message. Okay, but that's not what they did. And this kept on happening over and over and over and over again. And I started to put two and two together. And as of this point, I've come up with a pretty good idea of why a lot of these men and these people were behaving that way and still behave that way to this day. And I believe it has a lot to do with President Trump being in office, and I'll explain why. Again, I'm not trying to criticize anybody. I'm not trying to attack anybody. I'm just stating an opinion. I'm stating how I feel about it based on my personal experiences, okay? So why do I feel these people lashed out at me so much? Well, let's be honest, folks. And again, I'm not trying to be critical. I'm stating facts. Okay, we have three different types of people in the world. I'm just going to state here in the U.S., but this happens all over the world. We have the lower class, the middle class, and then the upper class, right? And I'm not being judgmental by saying that facts are facts. Even the government acknowledges lower class people, middle class people, and upper class people. I started to realize, with no disrespect to anyone, I'm trying to say this as professionally as possible. I started to realize that I was dealing with lower class people that pretty much came from nothing or very little. And because of that, never felt they had a voice, because people like me that are middle class or upper middle class, however you want to say it, they feel like we've all been raised with a golden spoon and we've had opportunities that they didn't have, which may be true. I'm not saying that's not true. But just because I had a better upbringing than some of these people, because I came from a good family that was middle class or upper middle class or middle class, and they're lower class, that doesn't give them the right to attack me on that, right? But see, these people, before President Trump got into office, really didn't have much of a voice. They really, in my opinion, I feel they didn't have, a voice to speak out. What President Trump did when he came into office is try to say that, hey, conservative speech should be something that's allowed. And even President Trump said that social media sites and society is trying to silence conservative speech. And when these people that I've been talking about heard President Trump state that and knew that President Trump was in alignment with how they were feeling, they completely backed him, and they felt more empowered than ever to do what they did to me and continue doing that to this day. For the last 4 years, these lower class people that felt they didn't have a voice, all of a sudden felt like they had a voice, and they felt so oppressed that they had to basically just lash out all at once. So when they came across someone like me that came from a good family, a middle class or upper middle class family, I was an easy target for them. And that's what they did. And it's really sad to me, because these are the type of people that I really want to help. I have no problem with lower class people. I actually have a big heart, and I care about people that are less than fortunate. I've always cared about the underdog. One thing people need to realize about me is that I've always been a fighter for the underdog. And I'll tell you why. Because when I was in grammar school, I've shared the story in the past. Some of you may have heard it. Some of you haven't heard it. If you're new here, you haven't heard it. But when I was younger and in grammar school, I used to always get picked on, because I was raised with so much love. And I wasn't taught that there are people out there just going to hate on you just to get a reaction from you. And so all throughout grammar school, when people would tease me and attack me, it was just a joke. I didn't even know how to take a joke, right? So I always felt like I was the underdog. And until I got to my junior year of high school, I didn't figure that out. I figured it out on my own. Because again, I was raised, to be nice to people, to be good to people. My father raised me to be a good, strong man, but my mother gave me so much nurturing love that I just didn't feel anyone was going to be a hateful person. And whenever people were hateful towards me, I didn't know how to handle it, right? So I went through all this teasing and all these attacks and stuff at a younger age, and I felt like the underdog. And once I figured it out, I always had a soft spot for the underdog because of what I went through, right? So for the people out there that are lower class, people that haven't had a fair chance or had the same opportunities that I've had, I honestly feel for you. And I've always wanted to help you people for the right reasons. I care about you people. But the more and more I seem to care about people like that, because they are so angry and bitter about what they've been through in the past, and because now all of a sudden, because of President Trump giving these people a voice unlike anything they've had before, they misinterpret me trying to help them for feeling sorry for them and feeling like I'm above them and they're beneath me. That's the furthest thing from the truth. Rhonda Grace says, you can't help anyone who doesn't want your help. Some people like to wallow in misery. You were in this group way too long. No, you're right, Rhonda. I agree with you on that. And Rhonda, I so value your opinions. They're so awesome. Same with you, Mutt. And I really wish Queen Helen Casey would come back and chat here, because now this chat is a lot safer with the members only thing. She's a moderator here as well. I also know Queen is busy. Queen is actually a conservative. She's slightly on the right. And her and I get along, even though, she's for Trump and I'm for Biden. And maybe that's why she's not here. Queen, I wouldn't blame you, if you're not participating or if you don't listen to this, because you know I'm more on the left and you're on the right. But even, let's take Queen Helen Casey, for example, here. She's conservative. I still love her like a sister. I still respect her, and I still care about her well-being, and I have her best interests in my head and in my heart. And when I voted for Biden, and I hope Biden wins, I'm not voting for Biden in a selfish way to where I feel that, okay, all liberals should be taken care of, and all these conservatives now deserve to be punished, right? No. I have Queen Helen Casey's best interest in my head and my heart by voting for Biden, because I honestly feel that not only will he make a big difference for the liberals like myself, but he'll make a big difference for all conservatives, including her. So you're right, Rhonda. You can't help, anyone who doesn't want your help. But I think it goes beyond that, Rhonda. I think the last 4 years, because of how President Trump has come out and empowered these lower class citizens, which are people, and I love them too, don't get me wrong, these lower class citizens that have not had the same opportunities. Maybe they're poor, maybe they're working a blue collar job and they're struggling, living paycheck to survive, right? Maybe some of them are on SSI, Social Security insurance, disability, and they're stuck at home and they really feel like they wish they could, have more opportunities than just sitting at home based on their disability. I feel for those people. I feel for all those people. But it just seems like over the last 4 years, since President Trump empowered these people, they not only now have a voice, but what these people have done is they've come out and not only started speaking their mind in general, they've started attacking people like myself and other middle and upper class people because they felt so oppressed all this time. And it's really sad because that's part of what's caused division in this country. Again, like, I'm all for everyone having a fair chance, whether you're lower class, middle class, upper class, regardless of your age, race, sex, national origin, sexual orientation. It doesn't matter who you are, as long as you're a good person and you're not a hateful person out there to hurt people. I have a lot of love for you. And even if you are a hateful person, in my head and my heart, I still wish I could help you. And that's what people don't understand. I may be a slight left liberal, but I actually care about the best overall interest of everyone. But again, I honestly feel that these people that have come at me, especially out here on YouTube, were able to do that because they felt empowered to do so by their commander-in-chief for the last 4 years, because that's the way he handles things. You see, Donald Trump related to these people because he knew that the lower class has been feeling this way. So in essence, to get their vote, he basically told them what they wanted to hear, in my opinion. Now, 4 years later, how much of a difference has been made in the lives of the lower class? Has the lower class jumped up to middle class? Has the lower class, been able to get further ahead because of the way President Trump, ran the country in the last 4 years? Quite frankly, I see it worse. I see it as it has gotten worse. Because if the lower class, these people that have been attacking other middle class and upper class people like me, if they were getting to a better place and they were getting further ahead in life, they wouldn't be as angry and bitter to continue coming at people like me. So no, I don't feel there's been any change at all for the lower class. I honestly feel that Joe Biden is going to make a huge difference, not only for the lower class, but the middle class and the upper class. I feel there's going to be unity coming back to our country once again. So that's my thought about it. Now, I want to share one more thing here before I get on out of here, folks. I've been on for 1 hour and 9 minutes here. One more way. I mean, the last 4 years, while President Trump's been in office, has affected me in more ways than the way I just mentioned and the way I'm about to mention. But I'm just going to mention one more way, because if I mention everything, folks, I'll be here all night. And it's the night before the election, and people want to, watch other programs as well. But first, Rhonda Grace Exploring says, it is social media. There are the good people and the ones that like to troll. That's not a class issue. That's a human issue. I agree with you, Rhonda. I still do think a lot of these people didn't even have the courage to speak until Donald gave them the courage. So while I agree with you on social media, you're going to get all walks of life from, the left, the right, the middle, from everywhere. I agree with you. But I will tell you in all honesty, Rhonda, from what I have personally experienced myself, I've been attacked by hundreds of people out here on YouTube, and every single one of them has been a right-winger. That's all I'm saying. I'm not criticizing them. I'm not attacking them or anything, but I have been attacked constantly from the right. And I've been attacked constantly from right-wingers that are lower class people. So that's all I'm saying. I'm just stating what my experiences have been. And again, I think that stems to how the current president has empowered these people by saying, hey, don't let anyone silence your freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want to say, even if it's hateful and inciting and it's violent, right? So that's the problem I have, is that, our current president is not afraid to do things to incite violence, even though he does it in a roundabout way. And when he's called out on it, he says, no, I'm not trying to incite violence, but he is. For example, when Twitter kept fact checking them in the past, and now they're still doing it, right? Donald got angry and bitter and said, you know what? I'm going to rewrite Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, and I'm going to start holding social media companies like YouTube and Twitter and Google and all that accountable for silencing conservative speech. Well, no one's silencing conservative speech. What they're silencing is hate speech, inappropriate content, and hatred and attacks. And when you have a president out there that's promoting hatred and attacks and saying that's part of your freedom of speech, come on now. How's that going to create unity? That's going to create division. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I'm saying. I know not all right-wingers are poor. I never said that, Rhonda. I never said all right-wingers are poor. There are poor left-wingers too. I'm not excluding, or I'm not just limiting people that are lower class to right-wingers. What I'm saying is that the majority that have come at me and that have, shared their opinions over the last 4 years are the right-wingers that are the lower class. They've had the biggest voice because they've been the ones that have been the most suppressed. Now, the left-wingers that are in the poorhouse, they think a little differently like myself. They're a little more humble. They're not going to overreact to things for the most part from what I've seen. And, because of the way they handle themselves, they're able to work through whatever they're going through and properly use the system to get back on their feet. And then once they get back on their feet, they don't need to use the system anymore. So, another thing, what I've seen on the right is that there are a lot of people that use the system and continue to stay on the system. And that's what keeps them in an angry and bitter state. That's just what I've seen, Rhonda. I'm not trying to be judgmental, and I'm not trying to say that, my opinions are facts. They're just opinions. That's just what I've seen. That's been my personal experience. So, but I get what you're saying. I totally understand what you're saying. But one more thing here before I go off the air. Another thing that the last 4 years have affected me on is my dating life. Because over the last several years, since my breakup, that I've been looking to find true love. And I use online dating, Match.com, Plenty of Fish, OkCupid, some other sites, right? The majority of the time, I would get these types of responses from women. You seem to be a great guy, but I'm a Trump supporter and you're a liberal, and I just know we wouldn't get along. And I would get those messages, and I'm like, oh, this woman had a great profile. She seems really nice. But basically, she's eliminating me. She's acknowledging that I'm a good guy, attractive guy, I have my stuff together, right? But because I'm on the left, she's on the right, I can't date you because of our political party differences. Then I've heard on the left, or on the other side, I've gotten messages from women saying that, boy, I'm glad that you're on the left because, I wouldn't date someone that supports Trump. And a lot of the women that I've talked with, getting to know as a potential romantic partner, have made politics a huge deciding factor on whether they want to date me or not. And before these previous 4 years that Trump was in office, there was never an issue regarding politics as a decision of whether someone would want to date me or not. And that when I started getting a bunch of that earlier on this year, late last year, earlier on this year, I was like, what is really going on here? What is really going on here? Is this world so divided now to the point of where, because I'm a liberal, I have no chance of dating a good conservative woman? even though we might be a great fit, just because I'm on the left and she's on the right, even if we're a perfect match, just because we have a difference of, political party preference, we're automatically eliminated. I've never seen anything like that in the past. And the political party system's been there forever. I've dated conservative women before, and it was a great relationship. And we never even talked about politics. But for the last 4 years, every single aspect of my life has been affected by what's happened in the White House. And that's how I want to end this stream here tonight. And say, look, folks, I'm not telling you what to do or who to vote for. You go out there and you do you. Just make sure you get out there and vote. Let your voice be heard. But I will say this, if I can even have a say, just think about how it's been the last 4 years for the best overall interest of everyone. We've been a divided country here. It's about time we bring things back together and reunite and solve issues like grown-ass people, like grown-ass mature adults. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, a Republican, an independent. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic. It doesn't matter if you're a male or a female, gay or straight, lesbian or bi or trans or gender nonconforming. It doesn't matter. You're all people. You're all equal. You all have a say. For the people that live here in the U.S. of A., what does the U.S. of A. stand for? The United States of America. The United States of America. Not the divided states of America like we have been. We are not the divided states of America. We're the United States of America. And that's where we need to get back to. So go out there tomorrow and vote. Vote for who you feel is going to unite this country once again. And that's where I'm going to end the stream tonight at 1 hour and 19 minutes. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. I want to thank Rhonda Grace Exploring for being here. I want to thank Mutt Nuts World for being here. Mutt, I believe the stream yesterday. I was out of town. I'll check out the replay. Sorry I couldn't make it. And I want to thank anyone else that was watching behind the scenes. I'm going to be watching CNN for the rest of the night and probably all day tomorrow, folks. And I'm not quite sure. I'm either going to do a stream or a video tomorrow. It may be related to the election, or it may just be something else. So keep it locked here to this channel, to see what's coming up next. With that being said, have yourselves a great night, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. Bye. Bye.